I bought this Staghorn Fern about a year ago, and it's pretty, but no, this one's definitely not the best Staghorn Fern ever. But a while back, I started thinking, why are smaller Staghorn Ferns always mounted the way they are? As beautiful as they can be, they're always mounted on a piece of wood or cork and hung on a wall or in a basket. They always follow the same pattern. What if they could be displayed on a tabletop, in a natural setting, and have an artistic appeal to them? That thought inspired me to give it a try. To get a better understanding of how I started this pursuit, we've got to go back 6 months. At the time, I was strolling through my local garden center, admiring the different houseplants, but especially the Staghorn Ferns. Nothing really stood out. They were nice, but either simple ones to hang on a wall or grow in a pot. So I decided to grab a couple and see what I could come up with. To make sure I was starting with sound and healthy plants, I looked at the leaves to make sure they had vibrant green foliage that was free from yellowing, browning, or crispy edges, and were free from pest. Next, I looked at the basal fronds. These are the shield-like leaves at the base of the plant. I wanted these fronds to be firm and intact. If they were brittle, dried out, or falling apart, that was a sign that the plant might be struggling. And then I went on to the roots. I gently removed the pot and inspected the root ball, looking for compact and firm, but not soggy roots. If the soil felt waterlogged or there was a funky smell to them, that was a red flag. Overwatering could be an issue. Once I had found the two that I wanted, I went by another local garden center and picked up a calathea and a couple ferns to use as accent plants. The idea I had in my head was to create a space where the ferns could grow and be seen in both day and night, and that looked as if they had been plucked right out of the woods. And for this, I planned on using a massive whole chunk of cork and mount the two Staghorn Ferns in the front of the cork, one on each side, with a base at the bottom that would not only support the cork, but bring the mount to life. To do this, I needed a couple materials I already had lying around and a few I had to pick up at my local hardware store. The first and most important item that I mentioned before was something to hang my Staghorn Ferns on, and this large cork seemed like the perfect fit. And second was a piece of plywood I had lying around that I could trim down to become the base and make it easier and more stable to move the mount around to enjoy it anywhere I might want to. To determine the size of the base, I basically placed the cork on the oversized piece of plywood and drew a natural outline where I thought the outer edge of the base would look right. With that marked, I grabbed my jigsaw and cut around the base. Then I checked it again with the cork on top to make sure both were in proportion and went on to prepare the cork. Now, even though this mount would be kept indoors, I know this cork won't last forever since it'll have two ferns attached to the side of it that need to be watered, and the moisture will slowly help to break them down. But I wanted to make it as sturdy and long-lasting as possible. So my plan was to fill the void in the center of the cork with expanding foam. I went slowly and let the foam expand some, knowing that this foam has a mind of its own and always wants to expand a little more. Once I thought I was done with it, I set it to the side and grabbed my base. To help the cork stay in place when the mount was complete and keep it from toppling over when my kids or dog bumped into it, who am I kidding, when I bump into it, I secured a wooden dowel to the center of the board that would go through the center of the cork, or I'll call it a stump for now. With that complete, I started to slowly spray foam over the base, trying to create a dome that would look like a natural part of the landscape when it was done. When building the base, I was able to be a little more liberal with my application of foam, as I actually wanted more than what I might think I need, so I could carve it back and allow space for additional plants when giving the mount an organic, almost floating effect. Oh great, I'm out. So I didn't give up that night. I went back to the hardware store and this time bought regular old expanding foam used in DIY projects, which is a little softer than the black foam, and of course it's a different color, but the color of the foam didn't matter because I was going to cover it regardless. With the foam sprayed, I let it sit overnight to dry. I started by carving the excess foam that had spilled out of the stump, trying to make it look as natural as possible. From here, the plan was to cover the foam on top of the stump that was exposed and make it look like it came straight out of a forest. And to do this, I applied some clear silicone to the rest of the foam that was exposed and sprinkled core over it so that the foam was not visible. With that complete, it was time for the fun part. Start carving out the base to create a natural platform that would act as a support system for the trunk of the tree while also blending seamlessly with the entire landscape, as I didn't want it to look like two separate pieces. I started by taking a knife and slowly carving out a natural landscape, making a space in the center for the stump to sit and leaving space for two special features that I wanted this project to have. The first was 3 holes for 3 4-inch ferns that I was planning to strategically place at the base to make the entire mount more interesting and come to life. And number 2 was a small area towards the front where I could mount a couple small LED lights that would shine up the Staghorn Ferns when they were mounted. This way I could enjoy looking at them during the day and at night. Now, the next step to prevent the stump from falling over was to secure the post I had previously placed in the middle of the display to the stump. But before that, I needed to create a hole in the foam of the stump so that it could stay in place. To do this, I grabbed a large drill bit and made a hole in the center. After a little testing and extra carving, making sure it was nice and snug, I was able to get the stump to sit on the base like I wanted. And from here was time to mount the Staghorn Ferns to the stump. To do this, I start off by soaking some sphagnum moss in water until it was fully hydrated. This step was crucial because dry moss wouldn't hold the moisture the ferns need, and it also made it easier to work with. While it was soaking, I grabbed my piece of cork and laid it on the table to look and see where would be the best spot to mount both of them. I finally settled with one on the top left and the other on the bottom right, trying to give them random placement, or as random as it could be with only 2 ferns. From here, I grabbed some small screws and secured them to the cork around the area where the plants would be mounted, placing them far enough from each other so that I could use a fair amount of sphagnum moss. I could have wrapped the string all around the cork, but didn't want the look of fishing string going all around. Once the moss was plump and hydrated, I grabbed a generous handful and placed it right where the first fern would sit and tried to make a pocket with it. This moss layer isn't just decorative, it's also functional. It acts as a soft cushion for the roots, holds moisture, and mimics the Staghorn Fern's natural environment in the wild. Next, I removed a fair amount of soil from both plants and positioned the first one on top of the moss and added sphagnum moss over the root ball, making sure the basal fronds, the shield-like leaves, were resting securely on the moss. These shields or basal fronds are key in collecting and holding moisture and nutrients for the plant. I always like to make sure when I mount these that the plant is upright with the newest leaf towards the top and the shield towards the bottom. But with these 2 ferns that I found, they had multiple plants per pot, so it was impossible to do that since each plant was facing a different direction. To secure everything in place, I took some fishing line and tied a knot to one of the screws, and holding the plant and moss in place, started to go from left to right in a crisscross pattern, with the purpose of keeping the sphagnum moss down and trying to form a nice half globe of moss attached to the stump. Once the first one was done, I did the same to the second. And to tidy them both up, I grabbed some scissors and trimmed any excess sphagnum moss that was sticking out to make the half globe look nice and smooth. So with the stump complete, the next step was covering the foam with a mix of rocks, core, and anything else I could think of to create a naturalistic base. I started by placing some larger gray jagged rocks I had lying around towards the bottom and smaller ones towards the top. I played with this for what felt like 2 hours trying to get the best look. Once I thought it looked perfect, I glued those pieces down using clear silicone. Then I took some more silicone and doing small sections at a time so the silicone wouldn't dry out, I smeared it on the foam and sprinkled core over the top, slightly pushing the core down so it would adhere better. Also, this time around, I used the silicone outdoors because last time, even though the doors were open, the smell was unbearable. And after the initial application, I noticed spots that were still not covered. So I went to those areas and put a little more silicone and core over them to make the base a big mound of core, resembling the floor of a forest. At that point, I thought it looked pretty good, but I wanted to add a little extra, so I took some spider roots and looked for areas along the edges of the rocks where I could place them and make it look like exposed roots of younger plants in the area. After again another couple hours, more time than I thought it would have taken, I was at the point where I thought it looked perfect and glued them down using silicone. When the roots were in place, to make it look as though the roots were coming from the ground, I added a little bit of silicone to the ends coming from the core and sprinkled additional core over the top. Next, I took the 3 accent plants I had purchased and placed them in the holes I had carved out with the pot, and also that they could thrive while blending into the larger mount. I wanted them to go in this way so that when it was time to water them, I could just pop them out, water them, and put them right back. So just when I thought I was done with the planting, I looked at it and I realized that I needed something here and something here to disguise the lights and give it a fuller look. So back to the garden center I went and picked up a couple more ferns. When I got back, I carefully started to carve out 2 additional holes where I could place the 2 ferns I had purchased. And while I was at it, I also cut about ½ an inch off the top of the taller pots so the lip of the pot wouldn't be visible. From here, I started to bring it all together, and I did this by installing the lighting. I wanted this display to have a spiritual glow, something that made it just as stunning in the evening as it was in the daytime. So I installed 2 small lights at the base of the setup, positioned so they would shine upwards and illuminate the Staghorn Ferns from below. I thought this subtle lighting added drama and depth, highlighting the unique structure of the plants and making the entire piece feel almost sculptural. With all this complete, it was time to place a stump on the base and see what I had created. Now sitting here looking back and editing this video, this project was more than just about mounting a couple ferns. It was about rethinking how plants are displayed and breaking away from traditional methods to create something truly unique. And while this might not be the best Staghorn fern ever, it's certainly my best Staghorn fern ever.